Thank you, Christine. Okay, Michael Williams. Michael Williams has lived on the edge of Bridge Street for 30 odd years. He's a retired electrical fitter mechanic with 40 years experience in numerous mines in the area. Right.
Good evening. Okay, look, I did work in the mining industry. I'm retired now, and of course I want to live my retirement not breathing dust, listening to noises, because I live in Bridge Street, the same as everyone else here. I mean, when I moved here 30 years ago, the mines were going to stop at Red Bank Creek. I think a lot of people remember that. No, Red Bank Creek was the stopping of the mines. They're not going to mine under any of our creeks. Well, they've done it anyway, haven't they? They've done it. I mean, there's not much we can do about it, I guess, at the moment. I'd like to stop them now. Took my guns off me, so I can't stop them. Boy, there's not like that. I mean, I get a bit upset, same as all these fellas out there. You get very upset. You get very upset at this mine's doing. We all get upset. I mean, they said they were going to put it down in Bridge Street. I was in the Bridge Street group too, some of you might remember, and with Bob Waller. And we thought we'd conquered them then, but for some reason they're going to put this, or try to put this shaft in the street. That shaft's going to go up for 18 months or so. If it goes up, it's going to cause noise in the area. I'm talking about the trucks going up, getting rid of the soil, etc., etc. And it's going to, the pollution's going to be noise pollution. And I've worked them. They're not quiet. They're noisy. And we're told that the dirt and the muck that's going to come out of that shaft is going to go into the atmosphere and it's going to stay up there magically. It's not going to come down. This is what we're told. What goes up, I thought come down, but obviously I'm wrong. This is what they told me. Anyhow, I know from experience in the mines and around the area where they took dust samples and that, these dust samples can go for a long way. The wind can carry them. It might not be Thirlmere that gets all this dust and this rubbish that comes out, and the noise will probably travel, but the dust could be down in Picton, could be at Thirlmere, out the Oaks, who knows? We might get it only on quiet days. But I'll tell you something, if you've got drinking water and it goes into drinking water, you won't be too happy, will you? If you're on tanks. I know I wouldn't be. As far as everything else goes, the noise, well, you hear the train down here, don't you? Well, you'll hear that Birmingham tower up there. It'll be blowing away day and night, not like the train now and again. It'll be 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And just think of it, it's only 2.5 kilos of dust coming out of that stack. That's over a tonne a year. It'll be a lot more than 2.5 kilos of light dust coming out of the stack. It'll only be the light stuff that goes under. I don't know what it's going to do to your health. I don't know what it's going to do to active people with asthma and that. But I'll tell you something, I don't like to breathe. I breathed it when I was underground and when I worked in shafts. Even though we did have safety gear most of the time, the point is that I'm on the surface now. I don't want to be breathing in the dirt and muck in, the same as the rest of us. And I don't think we know what the long-term effects are going to be with the shaft and the noise. And I know what it was like with the electric generators, the big fans. You've heard about them on the news, how the whooshing noise gets on people's nerves. This could be exactly the same. No, we don't want a shaft here in Thirlmere. We don't want anything to do with the shaft in Thirlmere. If they can get away underground and put booster fans in, let them put booster fans in. They did that at Westcliff. Let's hope they're doing it at Thirlmere. Put booster fans in so as that they can do away with this shaft. We don't want it. Okay? We've been shafted.
We'll move on. Just had a little change of plan because Jai has to go. Kate Farman, the chairman of, member of the Legislative Council.
Sandra, is this working? Yes, just. Well done, Shafted, who just formed 2 weeks ago to get all of you here today, and thanks obviously Jai for coming out as well, and councillors and all of you for coming out today to hear about what the impact of this proposed shaft is going to be on your lives. Let's hope we do hear, by the way, what the impacts will be. I don't know exactly what the impacts will be, and I'm sceptical sometimes that the mining companies will actually tell you what the impacts will be. It's interesting to know the history of mining in this area. I've been speaking with David, who's told me that some of you have bought houses and real estate here, not expecting longwall mines to go underneath your place, and not expecting it apparently to cross that area at Red Bank Creek. And now, lo and behold, that's what they're doing, and this is what many people actually across this state, across New South Wales, are experiencing. What we're seeing, of course, is a huge rush on coal resources. And I'm from the Greens. I'm sure everybody in the room knows that we preferably would like to move away from coal. But your reality, and I recognise that right now, is that you're in a coal mining town. You have coal underneath you. So that's not about to stop. Coal mining is not about to stop, so we recognise that. But what you can do in this process is ensure that your voice is heard on this issue. And I have to say, it's much better campaigning on this now than what it was when you were talking about the Bridge Street shaft. Was that in the 90s or something, was it? 1994. Much better now, even though you're kind of fighting this again, the communities across New South Wales, and I have to say the government as well, is actually listening to people on this issue. And I'm sure you've seen how much media there is on communities kind of fighting coal companies and mines, and communities fighting coal seam gas in New South Wales. So now is the time when your voice will actually be heard on this, and that's actually really important. But I think the question here is, what are the health impacts going to be? And I would say if this shaft goes ahead where it is, and I would think with the enormous amount of community opposition, obviously it shouldn't. But if this shaft goes ahead, I would demand as a community health studies immediately. You need to get a baseline of the health of your community now, before this shaft goes ahead. And this is, you would have various plans of if it happens, and ideally it doesn't happen, and you fight that it doesn't happen. However, if it does, you need to ensure that you're looked after as much as possible. And one of the first things is health studies, and Xstrata should pay for that, absolutely. And those health studies should obviously be conducted by somebody independent, and you should be able to access all of that data as well. Monitoring, of course, and we're talking noise monitoring, air monitoring as well. And there are many communities in the Hunter, around Muswellbrook and Singleton, that have experienced enormous health problems. Admittedly, that is open-cut coal mining, we know that, but we've just heard from somebody who was mining and that talking about how that coal dust can come up to the surface right near that shaft. The fact that there is a nursing home that is about to be developed, that should be your priority, and that should be the government's priority here, and that should take precedence over whether this longwall panel 26 goes ahead or not. And I would say they should not mine it if they can't make sure that your health is protected. So if they have to have a shaft several hundred metres away from residential areas and a new nursing home areas, that's not good enough. That longwall panel should not be allowed to go ahead, and that's what you should be saying, and that's what you should be putting in your submissions. So just to finish, because I'm sure you all actually want to hear from Xstrata as well, the one thing that's needed right now is for you to work together as a community, and for you to connect as much as you can with those communities all across New South Wales who are standing up to coal companies in their area. And I don't mean, you don't have to say we don't want coal mining ever. I understand that some of you may work in the mines and that brings wealth into this area. But what you should say to Xstrata is, Xstrata, your profits for the last 6 months was something like $3 billion, and they're increasing like at an incredible rate every 6 months. You need to ensure that we as a community are looked after. Our health is more important than your profits. If you can't mine under our town without ensuring that we are absolutely safe, and you don't crack our creeks and you don't crack our riverbeds, well, don't mine under our town. So just in making sure that all of you sign up at the end of this, connect with Shafted, make sure that your voices are heard, contact Jai. He said meet with him, make sure you all meet with him, contact the Premier, contact the Planning Minister, and make sure, when you're saying 26 people object to the proposal, just you being in this room today isn't what counts. You have, as in it does count right now, but you have to submit, you have to make a submission when it's before the Department of Planning, a really strong submission, or just a one-pager, and tell them that your health is important, that it needs to be located away from residential areas. If they can't locate it away from residential areas, they shouldn't build it at all. Thank you.
Would you like to come up, because it's a bit hard to hear you from the back there. I can't remember your last name. Ray, you'll have a second name. Peter Ray.
My question is in relation to
So the issue that the gentleman is raising is about, on a hot day, thermal inversion, yes, of the particulates that may come out of the shaft. I'm not sure. I don't know the answer to that, because I'm not an air quality expert as such. But you need to know the answer as a community. Be interesting to see if Xstrata is able to tell you anything, but always get independent advice, of course. It's also the government's responsibility, you would think, to tell you what the health impacts would be on a hot day, because we know that air pollution is really bad out the southwest on a hot day. We know that. So it's up to you. That's another question that you should be asking the state government, putting in your submission, questions about air monitoring, modelling, before it's approved. They need to know what is going to happen on the hottest day.
Jai would just like to have another quick word.
Thanks everybody. I'm going to disappear now and go to another meeting. Again, I just want to say thank you very, very much. I will get your contact details off Sandra and certainly keep you informed of the progress of what's happening if and when an application is lodged. Just to make my position very, very clear, what Kate said is 100% right. If something's going to impact our community and our health of our community and our kids, then we don't want that. So we need to make sure that that's part of the study, and it certainly will be. Out here in Wallandilly, we have a number of significant issues. Coal seam gas exploration licences have been granted by the former government up at Oakdale at the moment, and I'm going to that community meeting tomorrow to have a look at that. We have a commission of inquiry into the disappearing water levels in Thirlmere lakes. Right out here we have a number of, right at the moment we have a number of impacts into our community. Like Kate said, we're not the experts, we're not air qualitists, we're not all of those type of things, but we can certainly ask the questions, and my job as your local members to ask those questions and report back to you, good, bad or indifferent, and that's my job, that's what I intend to do. Thank you.
One question down the back. Was it for Jai or Kate?
No, Kate, really. Just because Kate mentioned about the submissions, the importance of the submissions once these go to the Planning Assessment Commission, I just wanted to point out, Kate, that we have up the back here submission forms that if anybody is interested, they might like to start thinking about that now.
Okay, that's it. Yeah, we've got copies of how to write a submission and so forth. So that's up in the back, so don't go without it. It's Illawarra coal, is it? Do you want to? No, it's Illawarra coal and it's for gas ventilation shaft, I think. Yeah, for the longwall mine. Yeah. No. It's a state government. They don't have anything to do with the council. So, okay. Joy just sort of said to ask the councillors. Well, obviously the councillors, they know about it, but it's not to do with. It's not to do with. It's not.
I'll take that on notice.
Yeah.
And I'll get back. I have got. I know how to contact you guys.
Okay.
I'll take that back.
Okay.
On notice, but I do have to run.
Okay. Thank you, Joy. Yeah, I know. That's why we're here, and we know there's a lot of angry people here, and that's what we're here for. So, okay, David Hunt. Yeah, sorry. Oh, sorry, Christine.
There is an advisory group set up by BHP on that ventilation shaft. Operates the second Tuesday of every month in Douglas Park Community Centre. And that's the ventilation shaft being constructed now. Yeah. I live right beside it.
Okay, that answered your question. That's another ventilation shaft. Well, hopefully we're not going to have 2 shafts. Yeah. Okay, David Hunt. He's a civil and structural engineer. He's going to speak a little bit about the mine subsidence and effects on the homes.
Is that working all right? As Sandra said, I am actually I have been a consulting civil and structural engineer and with a practice in the Warrandyly area for the last 30 years or more than 30 years. Part of my work has been with designs for buildings within mine subsidence districts and also doing reports on damaged buildings in mine subsidence districts. As well as that, I've been a community member on the Thirlmere Colliery Community Consultative Committee, and that I've been there for quite a number of years now, and that committee was set up by the government to liaise between the community and the mine. Now, I thought my role today would be best served if I actually talked about other consequences that are affecting residents apart from this mine shaft. And it's particularly relevant because the areas closer to the shaft, that's the one that we're talking about on the northern side of Red Bank Creek, where we were told there's not going to be any mining. There is a mine, which is Longwall 26, which Kate just mentioned, but I think we've missed the boat there. I think that longwall is going to be underneath Red Bank Creek within about 2 or 3 months, and it will continue under the housing to the north of Red Bank Creek. Now, the issues I thought were probably worthwhile talking about was the damage to houses, and I've got a couple of other issues which I thought I should bring up because these are now relevant, well, they're continuing to be relevant for all the people living in Thirlmere, Thirlmere and Picton, because the plan for the longwalls is to continue down to Picton. Now, the Mine Subsidence Board is a state government board. That's got responsibility for repairing houses and dealing with the public when any houses are damaged by mining. There's quite a lot of issues where the people are disaffected, really. They're really disappointed with the disadvantage which they're experiencing from this. But a couple of issues which I thought I might just mention is when there is damage beyond the longwall footprint, the ground drops above the longwall panels. That's between 60 centimetres and 1.2 metres, but the most damaging movement occurs around the edges of the longwalls. Much worse when there is an underground anomaly. You do get dikes, faults and what have you, and when that happens, the damage is considerably worse than if there was none. And that damage can extend well beyond the longwall footprint. Now, there's often claims to the Mine Subsidence Board are disallowed, even though owners are convinced their damage is related to mining. Now, the reasons given are often unsatisfactory to the owners, and no transparent guidelines are given to the community. The next section, and another issue that's really important, I think, is where we have repairs to housing, which is carried out by the Mine Subsidence Board. Now, when they do accept liability for the damage and they carry out repairs, the repairs are only carried out to the above ground structure. There is no work done below ground, so the cracked or dislodged foundations, which are the cause of the damage to the above ground structure, they're not touched. The house will often be left in tilt also. If there are any future ground movements, movement of damaged foundations is more likely to repropagate through the building. The Mine Subsidence Board doesn't tell owners their house will always have damaged foundations, and it doesn't tell them when it is left in tilt. The Mine Subsidence Board doesn't agree to repair any damage in the future if it happens afterwards and is more likely to occur because of these damaged foundations. And they don't pay any compensation for not completing those repairs at that time either. Now, I firmly believe that they're just two of the issues, and there's a lot of issues which we've been writing to our, through this committee that I'm on, the T4C committee that I'm on, sorry, the Thirlmere Colliery is called the T4C committee, that's the way we talk about it, and a lot of those issues have been brought up there, and we've been trying to get the mine subsidence boards to address them, and those are only two of the many issues, and I firmly believe, and we've got a lot of people who believe, that there's a review of the Mine Subsidence Act which is urgently needed to address these and many other concerns, to remove the inequities of the system. Now, another issue is Red Bank Creek. Now, Longwall 26, as I was saying, will soon continue under Red Bank Creek. The consequences will be Sandstone Creek bed will crack, the aquifers will drain into the mine below, the creek flows will stop very soon.